Every day starts the same way for most people. You wake up and your mind feels fresh. Your energy feels decent. You open your laptop or start your work thinking that today might finally be the productive day. At that moment, your brain feels fast, clear, and responsive, making you feel accomplished. That continues for the first couple of hours. Things go well. You answer messages, start tasks, maybe even feel focused. Then, something slowly changes. Around noon, your thinking becomes slightly slower. By mid-afternoon, your brain begins to feel heavy. By evening, even small tasks feel irritating. Reading a page takes longer. Writing a simple message feels like effort. This is the exact moment many people start wondering why their brain feels slower as the day goes on. Result, you assume the problem must be discipline. Maybe you were not focused enough. Maybe you got distracted. Maybe you just need to push harder tomorrow. So you try the usual solutions. More coffee, more motivation videos, more pressure on yourself to stay disciplined. Yet the real problem usually has nothing to do with discipline. The real problem is that your brain is running out of usable energy. When that energy drops, your thinking naturally slows down. Your brain might look small compared to the rest of your body, yet it is extremely expensive to operate. Neuroscientists have found that the brain uses around 20% of your body's total energy, even though it makes up only about 2% of your body weight. That energy is constantly being spent on thinking, decision-making, memory, attention, emotional control, and problem solving, which means something important. Your focus is not unlimited. It works more like a battery, and every decision slowly drains that battery. As the battery drains, the brain simply becomes slower and less efficient. This is one of the main reasons your brain feels slower as the day goes on. Think about how many decisions your brain makes before lunch. What should I do first? Should I check email or start the task? Which document do I open? What should I reply to this message? Did I forget something important? Even small decisions consume mental energy. Psychologists call this decision fatigue. Research from the National Academy of Sciences has shown that the quality of decisions declines after long periods of continuous decision-making. Decision fatigue quietly accumulates through the day, which is why thinking often feels slower by afternoon, which explains something many people notice in daily life. In the morning, you feel sharp. By afternoon, your brain feels crowded. By evening, you want to avoid thinking altogether. That gradual slowdown is not imaginary. It is the brain responding to energy depletion. Now, here is the mistake most people make. They believe productivity means forcing themselves to stay mentally intense for the entire day. They try to run their brain at full power, from morning to night. That approach is like trying to sprint for 10 hours straight. The brain was never designed for that. People who maintain high energy through the day usually do something different. They reduce the amount of mental work their brain has to perform. Psychologists call this cognitive offloading. Cognitive offloading simply means moving mental tasks out of your head and into systems around you. Your brain becomes lighter because it is no longer responsible for storing everything. When the brain carries less mental load, it slows down much less throughout the day. Think about something simple like remembering tasks. When everything lives inside your head, your brain constantly tries to keep track of unfinished work. That background pressure quietly consumes attention. There is actually a psychological explanation for this. It is called the Zeigarnik effect. The brain tends to hold unfinished tasks in active memory. It keeps reminding you about them again and again until they are either completed or stored somewhere reliable. That is why unfinished work keeps popping into your thoughts, even when you're trying to relax. The moment those tasks are written down in a trusted system, the brain relaxes. It no longer needs to keep repeating the reminder. This small act frees cognitive space. And when cognitive space is freed, the brain conserves energy instead of slowing down later in the day. Now imagine expanding that idea to your entire day. Instead of remembering everything, your tasks are already listed. Instead of deciding what to do next, your schedule already tells you. Instead of searching for information, Your workspace already contains what you need. Suddenly, your brain does not need to answer dozens of small questions. Those saved decisions protect your mental energy. And protecting that energy is one of the most effective ways to prevent your brain from feeling slower as the day goes on. And this energy protection becomes extremely important after midday. Most people assume the afternoon slump is caused by laziness or poor motivation. Biology tells a different story. Your body follows a natural internal rhythm called the circadian cycle. This rhythm influences sleep, hormones, body temperature, and mental alertness. Research in chronobiology shows that mental sharpness for most people peaks during the morning hours. Around early afternoon, the brain naturally experiences a dip in alertness. This dip is another reason your brain feels slower as the day progresses. You have probably experienced this without realizing it. Around 1 or 2 p.m., your focus becomes softer. Your reaction time slows slightly. Concentration becomes harder. This is not weakness. This is biology. Trying to force deep thinking during this dip often leads to frustration. Yet many people schedule their day in the worst possible way. Morning gets wasted on email, meetings, and small administrative work. The afternoon becomes the time for complex thinking. That schedule fights directly against your brain's natural rhythm. High performers often flip this structure. Morning becomes the deep work window. This is when the brain has the most available energy for complex thinking, writing, planning, solving problems, learning new ideas. These tasks require strong cognitive power. The afternoon becomes the lighter work window. Emails, meetings, communication, routine work. Tasks that require attention, but not intense thinking. This simple alignment between work and biological rhythm changes how the day feels. Your brain spends its strongest hours on the tasks that matter most, which leads to something interesting. You finish meaningful work earlier in the day while your mind is still clear, instead of dragging heavy thinking into the evening. Another important factor is friction. Every time you search for something, switch tools, or reorganize your workspace, your brain spends energy. Even something small like opening multiple tabs and searching for the right document creates mental load. When your workspace is structured, your brain does less searching. Everything already has a place. Writers often keep a dedicated writing environment. Programmers create development environments with tools already prepared. Athletes prepare their equipment before training. All of these practices follow the same principle. Reduce friction so the brain can focus on the actual work. Reducing friction helps your brain conserve energy, so it does not feel slower later in the day. Think about the difference between 2 mornings. In one scenario, you wake up and immediately start wondering what you should do today. You search through files, messages, and notes, trying to remember your priorities. Your brain starts the day in confusion. In another scenario, your tasks were planned the previous evening. Your desk is ready. The first task is already waiting. Your brain starts the day with clarity. Clarity saves energy. And when energy is preserved early in the day, it lasts longer. This is why some people appear to have endless focus. They are not forcing discipline for 12 hours. They are simply wasting less mental energy. Their systems carry the weight that most people try to carry inside their heads. Their schedules match their biological rhythms. Their environments reduce friction. The result looks almost effortless. Energy lasts through the afternoon. Focus remains steady. The usual crash never arrives. Imagine reaching dinner time and still feeling mentally clear, not wired from caffeine, not exhausted from pushing yourself all day. Just steady mental energy that has been carefully preserved. That state does not come from working harder. It comes from removing unnecessary strain from your brain. Once you start reducing friction, protecting focus, and aligning your work with natural energy rhythms, something surprising happens. Your brain stops slowing down as dramatically throughout the day. Productivity becomes smoother. The day feels lighter. and the exhausting cycle of pushing harder every single day slowly begins to disappear.